Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another live stream, a Tuesday night live stream, and we've got a lot to talk about, including the official, unofficial reveal of the Haslab G.I. Joe Classified project, which will be going live tomorrow. And thanks to the Hasbro Pulse web guy who likes to leak things out early on their website, we know it's going to be a H.I.S.S tank that is going to cost $300. We'll get all the details tomorrow, get a look at it, I'm sure, during Hasbro's live stream, which will start at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. But again, thanks to Hasbro Pulse and the listing they threw up by accident, we know it is a H.I.S.S tank and that the cost of it's going to be $300. Before we get into that, though, let us see who is here tonight. So Michael looks like was the first to chime in tonight. Welcome. Sean, welcome. Exotic Car, good to see you. KB is in the house. He's excited for tomorrow. Blade Runner, what's up? Paul. Anonymous Dude, welcome. Recut Hut, greetings. Gura's PC class, or glass, sorry. Mr. Allmine. So it looks like we got a pretty full house here tonight. So, Ben from the bunker, what's up? So, yes, his tank. Now, to me, I know I pulled these out. So, I'm sure everybody is pretty much assuming that it's just going to be a sized up version of the classic H.I.S.S tank, which is probably true. Which, is pretty basic. You get the front canopy, you get the one holds one guy in the back there for the cannon. I would hope with the Haslab one that the treads are actually move on it. Hopefully that is a detail that they will give us with that. I hope that it comes with I hope as like a base offering, meaning not as a stretch goal, but I hope with the actual H.I.S.S tank we get the H.I.S S tank driver, and then maybe some other things. I'm not really sure what they could do for stretch goals, but I do hope the H.I.S S tank driver is actually included with the $300 price, the base $300 price. Now, I actually wouldn't mind a more modern H.I.S S tank, to be absolutely honest. I really like this one. This is the direct-to-consumer version that they did a couple years ago. Actually, I don't have the guns that are supposed to attach here on the front, but I really like this design. So still overall basic, same design. You get the canopy that holds the driver. You get the one guy that can sit in the back. Now with this one, they did rocket launchers, which I don't know if they need to be rocket launchers, but I like the two turrets on each side, so I like that. And then you get the side, like these could be rockets that you have on the side. And then on this one, they actually made the inside here empty, so you could actually put stuff in the back, including like troops. So you could actually put additional troops in here, which I always thought, the H.I.S.S tank should be able to carry more than just two guys. So I kind of hope, maybe they give us something more modern like this. Now, I got this set up. So just to give you an idea here. So obviously this is a 6-inch figure, the Storm Shadow, which I must tell you, I think could be a strong contender for action figure of the year. This is like a near perfect action figure, the Storm Shadow figure that Hasbro's given us. But you can see, obviously this is how it scales with the 3 3/4 inch. So you can imagine how big a 6-inch scale his tank is going to be for it to actually look right next to a 6-inch figure. So I feel like, when we saw the $300 price tag, to me, I feel like that's a pretty good price tag. Again, I hope they do throw in the driver as the initial offering, but $300 for a 6-inch scale tank, I think is a pretty fair price. And I feel like, I mean, right off the bat, as soon as people started commenting on like some of the GI Joe Facebook pages, they were like, "Oh man, that's way too expensive," or "Man, that thing better have like a ton of, like, come with like 6 figures, man," or yeah. And I'm like, oh my god, you people, your expectations are so unrealistic. We were talking last week. I was thinking this thing was going to cost somewhere in the neighborhood of 400, 450. So I feel like 300 is actually, for something this size, is actually pretty good. I mean, if it's way too expensive, if you don't want to spend $300 on something, I totally get that. But like, don't, just like, Haslabs, aren't for you. But you're not going to get a Haslab 6-inch scale vehicle like this and not be, cheaper than $300. Um, like I said, if anyone was thinking the 6-inch H.I.S.S tank was going to be under $300, I mean, I think they're just crazy. I understand not wanting to spend $300. I even understand that you might not be able to spend $300. I mean, you might have to spend it on gas. I mean, hell, that's 3 tanks of gas for my car. So, I understand that 100%, but don't like sit there and act like a 6-inch scale H.I.S.S tank should be less than $300. I don't know. Yeah, but that Black Series snow speeder I didn't think was very good. But the TIE Fighter, the 6-inch TIE Fighter that they did was, I'm pretty sure, in that $300 neighborhood. So I would expect the H.I.S.S tank to be bigger than that snow speeder. And the snow speeder was a mass produced item, and it didn't sell very well. It ended up on clearance because people didn't buy it. I mean, I don't think, I wouldn't blame a retailer for not wanting to touch this with a 10-foot pole, because it would just end up on clearance. These are going to be sold in limited numbers, though. I do hope the minimum number that they require is reasonable. I hope it's not some outrageously high number. I think this will sell well, regardless of people who are going to complain. And, it doesn't surprise me that people are going to complain about the price. But regardless of that, I think this will still sell very well. I think there'll be plenty of people who are perfectly willing to pay $300 for the H.I.S.S tank. I include myself in that one. But I think there'll be people who are going to actually army build this thing, which is crazy to me. But I don't doubt for a minute that there aren't going to be people who army build this thing. So I'm not that worried about it. Even if like the H.I.S.S tank driver was like one of the tier add-ons, I feel like it is likely going to meet all of its goals. Um, no, that TIE Fighter was not $100. Maybe on discount, maybe eventually it went down to $100, but that was more than 100, and that was like years ago. Again, a mass-produced item that was released years and years ago before prices really started to skyrocket. Now, again, like most of those things, it went on clearance. And, it sat at Toys R Us stores until they had to clearance those things out. But which is why they didn't do the X-Wing fighter. They were going to do an X-Wing fighter the next year, and then the TIE fighter sold so badly that they ended up not doing it. I know the TIE fighter was more than 100. Maybe it was 170, but again, mass-produced item that didn't sell worth crap. And again, if you're going to complain about the price, then quit asking for these things. If you were somebody who's, oh man, we need a GI Joe classified 6-inch Haslab, and now you're like, man, that's way too expensive, then quit asking for these things. Just like be like, I'm not going to touch these things. I don't want them. don't, I don't care if you do them or not, but don't sit there and be like going, oh, give us 6-inch classified vehicles, give us 6-inch classified vehicles. We don't want 3 3/4 inch vehicles. We want 6-inch vehicles. And then be like, $300, that's way too expensive. No way am I spending $300 on this. No, get the hell out of here. You're ripping us off. I mean, it's just, you want your cake and eat it too, and it just isn't going to fly that way. And if that sounds like I'm shilling to you, then so be it. But that's just the reality of the situation. $300 is a pretty fair price for an item like this. If it was released by Super 7 or even NECA, it would probably be $400 or $500, $600 maybe. But $300 for a 6-inch. Well, let's back up for a minute. Until I actually see it, I'm not going to sit here and say 100% that it's worth $300. I mean, I'm making an assumption that Hasbro's going to give us something that looks really nice and has some nice features and everything. But if it is just like a solid piece of plastic with little detail or what have you, the treads are plastic and they don't roll, things like that, then I might be singing a different song. So I am making an assumption here that Hasbro's going to give us something nice for a 6-inch scale H.I.S. tank. But I feel like, until we see it, we just don't know. But I just feel like people right off the bat going, yeah, there's no way that's worth $300. You're not going to be happy no matter what. And I'm hoping that if that's you're right, but I'm hoping you're not one of those people, especially people that are like, oh, let's get a 6-inch U.S.S. flag. I mean, that's why a U.S.S. flag, size 2, but price would just never, people wouldn't pay that much. So, but I think $300 is likely going to be a fair price for what we end up getting. Now, add-ons, that's still where I'm kind of like, what could we get? His tank driver, obviously, which again I hope is part of the base item. I hope it's the his tank and the driver for $300. But what could they give us for add-ons? I was thinking like something that the his tank could tow, like I remember like it was like 3 missiles, so like a missile launcher or something that it could tow. There's other things like I forget the name of that cannon that Cobra had that was blue that like, but I don't think they would give us something like that. A vamp? If we got I don't know, a vamp, maybe. If they gave us a vamp, I'd almost rather have a vamp Mark II than the regular vamp. But honestly, I'd rather have like a Cobra Stinger than, I always like the Cobra vehicles better than the Joe vehicles, so I'm a little impartial. That's very good advice, Chuck. If you don't like it, or if you can't afford it, don't buy it. If you don't like it, don't buy it. Problem solved. I agree with you 100%. But there's going to be people, like there always are, that are going to tell us exactly how much this should cost, and that Hasbro's ripping us off and all that. I mean, we go through this with all of these Haslabs. And I mean, sometimes there's a little bit of legitimacy to those complaints. But in this case, I just don't feel like that is true. Yep, third party his or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle party van. I forget the name of the company, but somebody who's not paying any kind of licensing fees. Not that Hasbro. I mean, Hasbro's not paying licensing fees for obviously for GI Joe, but I feel that it is a fair price. And as long as it's a good vehicle, I'll be more than happy to pay $300 for it. And I will pay $300 for it. So, Doug, I don't really agree with you because the difference between the original trilogy, and in fact, I think that the one from the new movies actually looked cooler than the original trilogy. That thing was just so huge. I mean, I bought it and then it held one action figure, and the thing was so tall with the wings that like if you sat figures in front of it, like the figures would still be, they wouldn't, they couldn't even reach the cockpit, which is actually should be accurate, but it's just like you couldn't do very little with it, because it was just so big. And like I said, it didn't hold many figures. You couldn't display figures with it or anything. Mine has been sitting over in storage, for the last couple years because I just never found any place to really be able to put it. And the Hiss tank, I mean, the Hiss tank, could have similar problems as far as space. I mean, I don't know where the hell I'm going to put it. I've got the Thunder tank that's going to be coming hopefully this year at some point, and that's going to be, I think I have a space for that one, but now I got to try and figure out where I'm going to put a 6-inch scale Hiss tank. And I just, it's getting, as they do more and more of these large things, it's getting harder and harder to find places to display them. I would not have been surprised if it were 500, but I think if it were $500, then people would at least have a legitimate complaint to say that's way too expensive. There are definitely people that would have still, I have no doubt would still pay $500 for it, but I feel like if it had been in that price range, people would have had a lot more reason to actually complain. I was really surprised how many people were starting to complain about $300, a $300 price tag right off the bat without even having seen it. Um, you know, I guess I take that back. I wasn't really surprised because this is the internet and that's what people like to do all the time. But I just getting that upset about a $300 price tag for a 6-inch Hiss tank to me is kind of ridiculous. Chuck Crocmaster and Cobra Officer are on their way from Amazon. Mine are coming from Big Bad Toy Store along with my Chitara from Super 7. So those are all shipping out today from Big Bad Toy Store. So it seems like everybody got in like the new wave of classified stuff. I mean, just a few weeks ago we were getting delay notices, but saying like September or something. But now it seems like everybody's getting it in and they're starting to ship that stuff out. So I should have Crocmaster here early next week, I would say, at the latest. Anybody know when the Thunder Tank is shipping out? Well, it's supposed to be later this year, but this is Super 7 we're talking about. So my guess is at the earliest, maybe this time next year. And like we haven't seen any recent updates on the Thunder Tank, so I'm not really expecting that thing to ship out this year. It's supposed to ship out this year, but I'm not really expecting it to. Sure. Well, I've enjoyed my Sentinel. I don't have Galactus yet, so I'm not going to sit here and say definitively that I feel like Galactus was worth it. But there's nothing at this stage that makes me think that I'm going to be unhappy with that purchase. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. You know, if you spend, whether it's 300 bucks, 250 or 500 bucks, if you spend that money and you're happy with what you have, it brings you enjoyment, then it's worth it. If you buy something and then you're sitting there regretting it, or because you couldn't afford it, or you could have spent the money on other things that you should have spent the money on or whatever, then you shouldn't be buying it, to be absolutely honest, and it's not worth it. So that's what it really comes down to. Too many people who don't have a clue about what the actual cost of these things, and I'll even put myself in that. I can speculate, but I don't know exactly what the cost breakdown to make these things are. So all of us so-called experts are sitting here trying to dissect these things and say, oh, this should only cost this much. I mean, it's ridiculous. If you enjoy it and you have the money, buy it. If not, then don't. Nobody's forcing you to buy the H.I.S. tank if you don't want it or don't need it. And don't feel peer pressure to have to buy it. I mean, I feel like some people, I won't say you guys because I'm not saying but in general, I feel like there's a lot of people that sit online and they end up feeling this pressure like they've got to buy it because like other people are buying it. They don't really need it or they don't really want it or they might not have the money, but they feel like they have to buy it because other people are buying it. And if that's what you're doing, then my advice is 100% don't buy it. Don't spend the money. I go back to like these video game machines behind me and especially like that Tron game. When I bought that Tron game, I 100% had this feeling like, yeah, it's not really worth this money, but I thought it would look really good in here. And so I went on and got it. And I've been 100% happy with that purchase. I've enjoyed playing it. I play it still. I probably play it more than any of the other games. It does look good in here. It's a really nice cabinet. Do I know how much of a profit margin Arcade One Up had on that machine? Did they overprice it so they could have a huge markup? I have no idea. I really don't. Could you, if you know what you're doing, could you go make your own? Can you buy the card and just make a wood cabinet and have the actual game and stuff? Sure. And it'd probably cost you a hell of a lot less money. But I don't regret buying that item, and therefore, to me, it's worth the money. And it's the same thing with action figures. It's the same thing with these Haslabs. It's the same thing with any of it. None of this is a necessity. If I didn't have any of this stuff, my life wouldn't end. If I don't have a Haslab H.I.S. tank, my life's not going to end. So I'm only going to get it if I think it's actually going to bring me some enjoyment, which I do, and therefore that's why I will get one. Now I'm only going to get one, but again, I'm sure there will be people who army build because that's what they do. They army build. Risk. Wishlist X-Men Blackbird. The Marvel guys have been really quiet about HasLab this year. I assume they're going to do one for Marvel Legends this year, but no clues, no hints, no nothing for a HasLab this year. So, I don't know. I have no idea where they're going to go with the next Marvel Legends HasLab, whether it's going to be a vehicle or another large figure. We've talked about this, a couple different times in past live streams. For me personally, I'm less interested in vehicles. I don't think I would get an X-Men Blackbird unless it really, really knocked my socks off. I would be much more interested in another larger scale figure like a Celestial or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go with the next Marvel Legends HasLab. Yeah, I've seen a few customs out there. People that have been making like 6-inch vehicles for GI Joe with like digital printers and stuff. Yeah, I mean that thing's gonna be pretty freaking big, I think, because it's got to fit the figure in the figure stands. At least if it's designed like the original, the figure in the back in the laser turret has to stand. So it's got to be able to stand in there and not look silly, like way over, way too big. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how big the H.I.S. tank itself is going to have to be. Again, if that's how they design it, if they give it essentially the classic design. John wants a comic book giant man. Chuck, what else is coming for G.I. Joe? So Serpentor we talked about last week. We saw those prototype parts, which is probably going to have a air chariot, at least based on the parts that we've seen. I, mark your calendars for July 21st. I believe that is when the Sergeant Slaughter figure is going to go up for pre-order. So I know a lot of you have been wondering when Serpentor, or not Serpentor, but when Sarge is going to be made available. I think they'll have it available at San Diego. I think they'll probably end up maybe selling it at the San Diego Comic-Con at their booth. And then again, and this is just my speculation because they haven't announced anything, but I have a feeling they're going to have Sergeant Slaughter as a guest in their booth, and then he'll like autograph the figure for people. But as far as everybody else not attending Comic-Con, I believe it's going to go up for pre-order / purchase on July 21st. Small Trouble Bubble, or like, the Canon. I gotta look that up because that annoys me. I can't remember the name. The Cobra. The Asp. The Cobra Asp is what I was thinking. So that you could used to be able to tow on the back of like a H.I.S. tank. And so, see, they have like a little tow hitch on the back. So you could tow things like that. So that would be a cool add-on if they did that. But I feel like that would be kind of a pretty big ass. I mean, because that's a vehicle in its own right. So are they going to do a second vehicle as an add-on? That would be awesome if they did. But just based on Hasbro's track record, I doubt it would be something that big. But like the little missile launcher thing, which actually I think originally was a GI Joe vehicle, but they could do one for Cobra with like 3 red missiles, and yeah, that basically is on wheels, and so the H.I.S. tank could pull that along. I could see them maybe doing something like that. Yeah, the Asp would be awesome. It'd be a great addition to the H.I.S. tank, but I feel like that would be too big. If they did an Asp, a Cobra Asp as an add-on tier, I mean that would 100% make that thing worth $300. That would be a deal if they gave us both the H.I.S. and the Cobra Asp. But I just feel like the Asp would be too big. What's up, Stanley? I don't think there's any real basis for that. I mean, I don't know where you heard that from, but I mean, Dwight in that, we talked about this a couple months ago when Dwight, I think it was Ryan, were on the Marvel Comics podcast, with the official Marvel Comics guys, and they were talking about, Dwight had said he wanted to redo a Fing Fang Foom, like if he could go back and do and redo a new figure, or take an old figure and modernize it and do it. Fing Fang Foom was one he mentioned. So was he saying that to hint to the Haslab? I don't know, but I suppose it's possible. So I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't think there's anything of actual concrete evidence to suggest that the Fing Fang Foom is coming. Really, you never liked the Hiss? I always thought it was one of Cobra's more popular vehicles. Now, again, I would rather see. I would prefer Hasbro not just give us an upscale of the original. I would much rather see something a little more modernized, like they did with this version. But but I don't know. I don't think we're gonna see anything for Ghostbusters from Hasbro until we get closer to the next movie, which I believe I just saw the release date was announced for that. Let me see if I can find that. I want to say December 2023, but let me just check. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, December 2023 is when the next Ghostbusters movie from Sony is supposed to be coming out. So, and then there's also, they announced a couple weeks ago that they're doing a new cartoon series as well. So I definitely feel like there will be more Ghostbuster toys coming, um, but probably not until next year. Todd says O-ring Stinger looked great. I agree. However, it looked basically just like the original Stinger. So, which I always thought was a really cool vehicle. So I'm with you there. No, I think three. You're coming. You must be coming in late, Stanley. I think 300 is a fair price. Now that's me. There are definitely people who disagree with me on that, but I think it's a pretty fair price. As for add-ons, I don't know. We were talking. Something the H.I.S. tank could maybe tow, though I feel like something like the Cobra Asp would be too big. Um, Hopefully, my hope is we get the H.I.S. tank driver right off the bat. We don't have to unlock any tiers for that one. Whether they gave us, I mean, other figures that they could give us, I don't know. They could give us maybe different versions of Cobra soldiers with different web gear than what we've already gotten, maybe. Um, if they want to go with the army builder theme, they might throw in a couple different types of Cobra soldiers. I got the Cobra, or I got the Toy Biz Mojo, but I went out and got that box set too. Matthew, I don't know where Salome is. She might come down at some point, but I think she's upstairs right now. They could. I would prefer just to have the red. I don't know if I need two different his tank drivers, but but yeah, I suppose they could do both versions. Do I think the molecule code name is for Molecule Man on the code? I'll be honest, that thought crossed my mind. I have no idea though. So I can't sit here and tell you that it's not. But since I don't know what the theme of the wave is, it's hard for me to. I don't yet know what the actual theme is. I just know it's going to be all comic book based figures. So it could be, but it just as easily may not be. But I had that exact same thought when I was reading those code names, and I was like, Molecule, maybe Molecule Man. And if it's an Avengers themed wave, that would definitely fit. If it's a Spider-Man themed wave, then I don't think it would be Molecule Man. But again, since I don't have those details yet, I couldn't tell you. I said that last week. I said they could give us a hooded Cobra Commander. My feeling is they won't, but if they were ever going to give us a hooded Cobra Commander, this would be the best way to do it because obviously it's a direct to consumer item through the website. It's not something that's going to be sold at physical stores. It is something that basically just adult collectors are going to primarily be buying, so not kids. We all have seen Hooded Cobra Commander before, so I mean, I don't think anyone's going to get offended if they did Hooded. I won't say that because again, it's the internet, but I feel like if there was any way they were going to do Hooded Cobra Commander for the classified line, doing it with like as an add-on would be for something like this Haslab would be the way to go. But at the same time, you know, corporate mentality and all that, I feel like I wouldn't hold my breath on it either. Matthew, did I like Multiverse of Madness? I did. It wasn't my favorite Marvel movie by any means, but I will say it's the best. It was the best MCU movie that we've gotten, and I'm not counting the Spider-Man movie because that's a Sony movie, but it was the best, you know, MCU movie since Avengers Endgame. But it so yes, I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite movie. I would imagine so. Of course, Sandy. I like. I don't know if Hasbro's going to do their live streams from San Diego, like try and do like have their panel streamed live at San Diego this year. I don't know. They haven't given us any details, but yes, I would definitely expect some Hasbro at least one Hasbro live stream in July. In fact, I'm pretty sure the Marvel guys even said that. For me, I mean, I don't really care. I didn't feel like waiting for Hasbro, so you know I showed you this one before, but I had somebody make me a hood for my Cobra Commander, so I didn't have enough confidence that Hasbro was ever going to do one, so I went on and just had one made. My favorite Captain America movie is Civil War, though I thought Winter Soldier was pretty good as well. I mean, I liked all three of them, but out of the three, Civil War was my favorite. I always like it more when you get like more than one hero in the movie. And I guess, you know, Civil War, it was technically a Captain America movie, but it was also more like an Avengers movie to me. So, you know, they could do, you know, other things they could do. They could maybe do something like, you know, if they wanted to get creative, they could maybe do like a mass device or weather dominator or something like that. I mean, I don't know if technically you would associate that with the H.I.S. tank, but I could see them maybe doing something like that as an add-on. Well, yeah, between the first movie and the second one, I agree. Winter Soldier was better. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that, but it's still technically it's a Captain America movie. So if you're gonna ask me what my favorite Captain America movie is, that's it. But if you're asking me between the first one and the second one, Winter Soldier is my favorite. Do I think we'll get a GI Joe 3 3/4 inch Haslab this year? No, I doubt they're gonna do two GI Joe Haslabs in 1 year. Fumbles. The only thing I didn't like about Winter Soldiers, I was not a huge fan of the blue outfit, the Commander Rogers outfit, but other than that, but for the movie itself, I thought it was better. Yeah, I don't think that Riva lightsaber is gonna make it. Mr. According to my tracking number, it should be here tomorrow, but no, I've not yet gotten it in hand yet. But I did get the shipping notice, and like I said, tracking number suggests it should be here tomorrow. Was that a cartoon? I mean, I'm remembering the character, but I can't remember. Now I got to look it up. Oh, Robot Chicken. That's what I, I remember. Okay, I was like, damn, I remember. What was that from? Yeah, that was a funny skit. I do remember that. But no, I don't think they'll do fumbles from Robot Chicken for. I could see them maybe doing Destro with like some vac metal on his mask. I could maybe see that as an add-on figure. I don't need sounds. Lights would be cool, but and that's a possibility. It could have electronics. I mean, the Sentinel, the Haslab, Sentinel and Galactus have electronics, so that's possible. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, I very rarely activate the electronics on like stuff like that because it only stays on for like a second. If they could make it where you could keep it lit all the time, that would be different. But if it's where you'll push the button and it makes a sound or it lights up for a minute, I don't know. I don't usually get much use of that. But it may have electron. Again, one of the things I feel like it must have real rolling treads, not like this plastic non rolling thing like they usually do with the 3 3/4 and stuff. I feel like the treads need to be rubber and they need to actually roll. If they don't give us that, I'll be pretty upset. And I like the gold bronze trim, whatever you want to call this, that they did on this version. I like how that stands out. And I just like the red missiles. Though, like I said, I wouldn't mind if these were actually like gun turrets as opposed to missiles, and then like have the missiles on the side. But I feel like this is like my favorite H.I.S. tank to date that Hasbro's done. And the sides open up too. So, something like that where you could like actually fit troops inside of it and stuff, not just in the turret. But I feel like that's something that they should do for us. I don't remember. It definitely wasn't in the first one. I can't remember if they had any kind of his tank in the second one. SG says he's gonna scream like a little girl if it has headlights. So so for you Star Wars fans, there's going to be a Star Wars Black Series figure revealed. One last Obi-Wan series figure is going to be revealed tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. Go up for pre-order on Thursday. EJ says, could easily do a traditional his tank with add-ons to make it decked out. I mean, I agree. They could. There's a lot of things they could do. I mean, they could take this basic design and they could add additional things to it. So yeah, definitely. But I just I just always like this one better. I don't know. Of course, they did that one his tank that was like a Cobra head that would like pop up. I didn't like that one very much, but that was like a really different looking his tank that they did. Welcome, Darth. Profit. You mean the Black Series? No, it should be a general release or at least fan channel, but it's not a store exclusive. There might be store exclusives. I won't. It's possible there could be more than one figure revealed, so I won't say 100%. But I know at least one figure is going to be revealed tomorrow, and it should be. It should not be a store exclusive. Oh, there's a quite over the years they've done quite a few different his tanks, and they've done the basic his tank in like every color. There's black, there's red, there's blue. I think those are the main ones that they've done. But yeah, they've done a lot of different his tanks over the years. Do I have a big comic collection? I don't have a lot of modern comics. I quit reading comics probably about 10 years ago, or on any kind of regular basis, but I have a ton of comics from late 80s through all the 90s and early 2000s. No, it's not, Ben. It's going to be a general release, and if you're coming in late, mark your calendar for July 21st because I do believe that is when Sergeant Slaughter is going to go up for pre-order. You don't like that Megatron his tank? I thought that was pretty cool. I'm definitely looking forward to that. The special edition Gene Simmons his tank. I don't remember that. I feel like you're making that up, but now I'm gonna have to Google it. Yeah, you made that up. EJ says he doesn't want what the his tank looked like in the cartoon. Well, I mean, I feel like this is something that you could really see in real life, but I I mean, I wouldn't want them just taking a real tank and painting it black and calling it a his tank. Yeah, that is true. Gene Simmons liked to do stuff like that. The Kiss tank. A sticker sheet, huh? For me personally, I'd rather have the decals already placed on it, but Loyal Subjects is doing some 5-inch Kiss figures. If you want some Kiss figures for their BXN line. Oh, there are shipping delays, but Targets are starting to get Marvel Legends. I've seen the Thor wave at Target. I saw the Vulcan figure just the other day at my local Target. They had just gotten, from the X-Men wave. It was the only one they had, but and it was a solid case. They had like 5 Vulcans. But yeah, they're starting to get that wave. Other people have told me that Targets have been getting Siren and Sabretooth as well. So it's just, the shipping delays that it caused a drought. So, but we've talked about this before, but Target's not dropping Marvel Legends. Um, it's just the shipping delays. I've never owned any of those 5-inch BXN figures, so I can't personally say. I've seen some people share that thought, but I don't know. Yeah, I think Target is ordering, like, a lot of retailers now are just ordering solid cases of figures. So yeah, definitely with that X-Men wave, I think they're just getting the solid cases. But like my particular target, I think just got the Vulcan figure. Where again, other people have told me that they've seen both Siren and Sabretooth as well. But I don't think my target had those two because I feel like, or Wolverine, I should say, was one of them that Target was getting. And like, there's no way Wolverine would have sold out. So if my target had gotten a solid case of Wolverines, I would have still, I'm pretty sure I would have still seen them on shelf. But and it was also weird because the Vulcan was over there in the section with like the NECA figures and stuff. It wasn't over in the regular aisle. Now the Thor figures were, but not the X-Men figure. I don't know if somebody just threw the case over there with the NECA figures or what the deal was. And that Marvel Legend Thor exclusive with the spinning hammer, that one seems to be like a peg warmer because I the two targets I have near me, like each one has had like 5 of those figures just sitting on the shelves for the last couple of weeks. So I'm waiting for that one to go on clearance like they did with the Defender Doctor Strange figure, and I might pick it up then. I want the hammer, but the spinning hammer, but it's not worth paying $30 for just to get the spinning hammer. So if Target discounts it, then I'll probably pick it up. I haven't had a Hiya toy figure in a long time either. I had some of their early Aliens and Predator figures. The quality was so-so. They seem to break fairly easily, but it's possible they've improved since those early days. And Amazon's gotten a couple. Just today, they put up for pre-order a couple of those X-Men figures. Power Turtle Buster bought Thor and returned it yesterday. I hope you like didn't swap out a figure, keep the hammer or something. I'm surprised people haven't done that. I'm surprised people are buying the Thor, taking the hammer, and then returning it without the hammer. I got the Thor, the Jane Foster Thor, and um the Kristen Bale figure. I didn't get the Guardian figures from that wave. Oh, and I did get the Valkyrie figure in that wave as well. Yeah, Amazon had 3 of them today. for those X-Men figures, like actually in stock. They had the Darwin figure and the Maggot figure, and I think Sabretooth. Like they had those three actually in stock earlier today, where like if you bought it, it was going to ship out and be here. Like I got the Darwin, or not the Darwin figure. I got the I always want to call him Leech, but I got the Maggot figure I got from Amazon today, so that should be here like tomorrow. I had the previous Valkyrie, but I went on and got this one because I thought it looked better. I don't think I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru from Obi-Wan, but that I don't think that's going up for pre-order tomorrow. Yeah, and I expect they will get the others in before October, but until they actually have them in stock, that's the date they were given, so that's what they list. But you know, you can see with all these stores, they're starting to get these cases in. Again, they're solid cases of the figures, which is why you're only seeing like parts of the wave show up here and there. But they're starting to show up now at multiple stores. Both the GI Joe Classified, you know, with the Spirit, Storm Shadow, and Cobra Officer wave, along with the Crocmaster. You know, Big Bad Toy Store is shipping them, Amazon is shipping them, Hasbro Pulse is shipping them. So you're starting to see those start to show up. Walmart stores, physical Walmart stores, have been getting that Storm Shadow wave in here in the last couple of days. So you know, the drought is looking like it's starting to end. You know, end, and we're starting to see figures return to shelves. So Kid Leia, yeah, I could see them doing Kid Leia. I only know the code name for the figure that's going up for pre-order tomorrow. It's the code name for the figure that I know is going up for tomorrow for Black Series is Fernan Village. So I have no idea what it should be. A regular figure. It's not like a deluxe figure, so it's a regular size figure. But I don't know. I don't know which one. I'm pretty sure it's one from the Obi-Wan series, but but uh but I don't know what character it is. Yeah, this Storm Shadow figure, honestly, this to me is a major contender for action figure of the year. Um, I mean, this figure is near perfection. The accessories all work great, just like on the original classic figure. I prefer it without the hood, but even with the hood on, it looks pretty good. So this is a really nice figure if you're a fan of Storm Shadow. It took long enough for them to get it to us, but I will say that the wait was worth it. So action, definitely to me, top contender for action figure of the year, the Storm Shadow figure. And the Spirit figure is pretty nice as well. They did a really nice job with the Spirit and Freedom figure. So I give that one pretty high ranks. I've got a second spirit that should be coming. I'm going to take Freedom and give it to my Peacemaker figure for Eagly. I'm probably going to drill some small holes in the Peacemaker arm so that Eagly can sit on his arm, or Freedom, which I'm going to rename Eagly. Um, I don't know. I mean, it might, but I certainly, there's nothing. I mean, I've certainly had white figures turn yellow in the past, stormtroopers from Star Wars, things like that, but I don't think it's necessarily a given it's going to turn. And they even gave us some like added little detail here on the wrists with a wash, so it's not just like stark white. I mean, most of the figure is pretty stark white, but it's just, to me, that's just like a gorgeous figure. And I mean, all these accessories, they stay on the figure. They don't just easily fall off when you touch them. So they really did a nice job with that. And I will tell you, getting the hood on is a little bit of a pain because you got to take the head off and then you got to stick the head in the hood and then you got to try and push the head down back on the ball with the hood on. So it can be a little tricky, but even with the hood on, I think it actually looks pretty good. I prefer a classic Storm Shadow without the hood, but well, I will admit that there's definitely a difference between like a hood like Storm Shadow has and a hood like Cobra Commander has. I doubt Fush actually invented that. I've seen other figures that do that in the past, but maybe they took some pointers. Uh, Definitely no specific date on Revelation yet. I don't think. Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't think we've gotten specific dates yet. Yeah, that whole wave is really nice. Even the Cobra Officer. The Cobra Officer out of the three is my least favorite just because it's so similar to the Cobra Soldier. But all three of those figures in that wave are really nice. I mean, I've said this before, but G.I. Joe Classified is probably my favorite action figure line right now. Going. I've been enjoying the figures more than Marvel Legends, DC Multiverse, pretty much everything else. The worst thing about the GI Joe Classified is just having to wait in between the waves and stuff. But that's not so bad as far as the wallet is concerned. Anonymous dude, yeah. I mean, to me, while GI Joe is my favorite line right now, Star Wars has really become my least favorite or one I'm least excited about in general. Like when I see a Star Wars figure, I might pick it up, but I'm not. There's not like any figure that I've like been super eagerly anticipating, and it's been kind of that way for a while. The Boba Fett figure, the Book of Boba Fett figure for Black Series, I was pretty disappointed in. Like his jetpack doesn't stay on his back worth of crap. So, I just that was a little bit of a disappointment to me. So Black Series to me is just kind of, I don't know, just And maybe it's just Star Wars in general, I don't know, but I just have not been super excited for much in the way of Star Wars as far as the toys and stuff. I won't go that far. I won't say Star Wars needs to go away as a waste of plastic, but I definitely feel like it needs something to kind of give it its oomph back. Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess I Storm Shadow has not shipped from Big Bad, but it's definitely going to ship before September. Those are just, like I said, those are just placeholder dates, and as we can clearly see, this stuff is coming in much sooner. So I don't know when, but I would suspect Storm Shadow will be in probably pretty soon. Didn't the Obi-Wan figure come with Lola? Yep, I got Chitara today and shipped it out today, so I should have Chitara in hand by early next week. Like shipping today in my pile of loot from Big Bad Toy Store, I got Chitara, Speedball, the Marvel Legends Speedball, the and then the GI Joe Classified Cobra Officer, my second Cobra Officer, and then Spirit that I got a second of because of again, I wanted to use the Freedom for Eagly for my Peacemaker, and then the Crocmaster figure. So those all shipped out today, or they probably actually won't ship out until like tomorrow, but I'm expecting them here by early next week. Neo, sweet. I've never been to Joe Fest, so I've been to the GI Joe Con, but I've never been to Joe Fest. Anonymous, they don't look bad, but I've never played Fortnite. It's not something I'm really into, so I have a couple of Fortnite figures that Hasbro had sent me at one point, but I don't. It's not really something I'm personally into. But it's not that the figures look bad. It's just I'm just not really into Fortnite. I do have the I did order the Fortnite Snake Eyes figure, so that one I did buy, and will be here eventually at some point. But again, Fortnite's not really my thing. Yep, I will be looking forward to completing my Thundercats team. And while we all criticize Super 7 for taking their time to get these things shipped out, but let's give credit where credit is due. Super 7 has given us a completed Thundercats team where everyone else failed. Mattel, Bandai America, everyone gave us like partial teams and then they canceled the line. So at least Super 7 has finally delivered well, okay. I guess for those of you who missed out on the Mattel Wily Kit and Wily Cat, your team is still has a hole in it. And then of course we haven't gotten Snarf either. But still, for the main team, and if you got the Mattel Wily Kit and Wily Cat, you've got pretty much, all the main guys other than Snarf. Yeah. Yeah, I caught myself. I have Wily Kit and Wily Cat from Mattel, so I don't really need those guys, but Snarf is definitely missing. And then, for those who didn't get the Mattel Wily Kit and Wily Cat, then that's a big hole. Hopefully they will get those out soon. I'm surprised they haven't announced those two yet, but yeah, but Mezco did those weren't like 6 or 7 inch scale figures. Those were more like statues, if I remember correct. Or maybe or 12-inch figures or something, but it wasn't like a normal And I'm not. Did they do the entire team? I don't remember. A 3 pack with Wily Kit, Wily Cat, and I hope not, because I don't need Wily Kit and Wily Cat. I don't want to have to buy them again just to get Snarf. I feel like Snarf should have been included with the Thunder Tank. Sorry, bug flew in my face. It's a little bug that keeps flying in front of my face. You hate Snarf? How can you hate Snarf? Every cartoon back then had to have the annoying character, and Snarf was it. I'd rather, yeah, if they were gonna throw Snarf in with somebody, Burble, I'd rather have Burbles than Wily Kit and Wily Cat. I mean, Wily Kit, Wily Cat probably would make more sense, but it would be annoying that if I have to buy those again just to get Snarf. Well, they definitely did a pretty bad job with his paint applications. Tigra is as far as like quality control, is the worst figure that they've done to date. But it could be. Almost flew up my nose too. I mean, not liking Snarf is saying you don't like Orko, or you know. I don't. I don't know if the Super Seven. I feel like if anyone's going to give us real Ghostbuster figures, it's more likely Hasbro. But yeah, I mean, you never know. You don't like Orko either. I don't know if I'd put Bumblebee in quite the same category as Snarf and Orko. Wesley Crusher. I mean, both Orko and Snarf were annoying, but they grew on you. I mean, and what? Who was the one in Shira? Shira had that little cow guy or something. Everybody hated Wesley Crusher. Scrappy, Scrappy Doo. Hulk Smash loves Snarf better than modern Star Wars. Orko, Snarf, and Jar Jar Binks. There you go. Those are three. Yep, Raymond's making bootlegs of Mask. Here's my question on that. Why it's not Mask because it's an unofficially licensed product? If somebody just wants somebody to make them Mask toys, I mean, why don't you just go to like a customizer, a good customizer, and like commission them to make you some Mask stuff? I mean, if that's what you want. But I don't like it's not a Mask line because it's not a licensed line. And Raymond Toys, or however you pronounce them, I mean, they're an overseas company. So their stuff is very expensive. And, you know, if you're buying directly from them, you got to pay shipping from overseas. I mean, to me, it would just be like, you know, there's really no big difference than just going to a customizer and you know, requisites, you know, paying them a commission to make you some Mask figures or toys or whatever, and going to a company that's making bootlegs of the stuff. I mean, I don't get the appeal. But see, the Silverhawks is an officially licensed product. You know, they actually went to Super 7 and got the license, you know, paid Super 7 the license. So that is an official Silverhawks item. And I agree. I think their Silverhawks Quicksilver looks better than the Super 7 one. But when it comes to those 80s commanders and the mass stuff, I mean, those are just bootlegs. They did not go to the companies that hold those licenses and get the official okay to make that stuff. So it's no different than if you're just going and buying someone's custom of those things. I just don't get it, to be honest. I mean, I see people going gaga over that stuff and I'm like, okay. Have you ever watched Deep Space Nine? That's the best Star Trek series. I did. In fact, I was almost late to getting this live stream started because I had to post that stuff up on TNI. But yeah, those three new figures: the Casey Jones from the Mirage comics, and then the Van Helsing Splinter figure, and then the Utrom Mirage. We had seen that one already, but those all three are up for pre-order at Big Bad Toy Store. No, unfortunately, I just did a story on Marvelous News, like basically saying where's our X-Men versus or where's our Marvel versus Street Fighter figures for Marvel Legends. I That's like a no-brainer to me, and it's like we got it's the 35th anniversary of Street Fighter. So we've got all these companies doing Street Fighter mashups. We've got Jazzwares doing AEW figures for Street Fighters. Who's ever said, "Man, I wish I had some AEW wrestlers as Street Fighter characters?" But we're getting those. We're getting 6-inch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Street Fighter figures from Playmates Toys. So at least we are getting some 6-inch Street Fighter figures through that. And then we're getting Transformer Street Fighter mashup figures, even though those were actually originally released back in 2018, but we're getting those again. But no sign of actual Marvel Legends versus 6-inch Street Fighter figures. Now, originally I thought, you know, they might have a problem, you know, Hasbro might have a problem getting like the license from Capcom to do 6-inch figures, being like Storm Collectibles is doing a similar scale and stuff. But being Playmates Toys obviously was able to do 6-inch Street Fighter figures to go up against Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't understand why Hasbro couldn't get it for Marvel Legends. So that's a no-brainer to me. I feel like those would be very popular if they did Marvel Legends style Street Fighter figures with 2 packs with Marvel Legends. And you could even like take like the modular Iron Man, just reissue that with some brighter colors, give them a proton cannon, and then stick in a brand new Street Fighter figure. People would buy that in a heartbeat, I think. I mean, it's possible there's some type of red tape with Capcom and Marvel and everything. I don't know, but it just to me that seems like a no brainer. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would like Marvel Legends style Street Fighter figures. I still have my Soda Toy Street Fighter figures, and those were pretty nice. Those were on par with Marvel Legends back in the day during the Toy Biz days. So I still have a lot of those, but I would love to see Hasbro give us some 6-inch Street Fighter figures with Marvel Legends style articulation and everything. I'll probably check it out. It's not like something I'm waiting for bated breath with, but I'll probably check it out. I mean, I don't expect Hasbro to get the full on license, but I feel like just like Playmates did with the Turtles versus the Street Fighter, they could get a special, exception to do, a special limited series of figures, of Marvel versus Capcom or Street Fighter. So I feel like if Playmates could have done it, then Hasbro should be able to do it as well. But I wouldn't necessarily expect Hasbro to do a full on, like, get the license to do a full on line of Street Fighter figures. But again, just like something special, limited. And remember, they did 3 and 3/4 inch Marvel versus Capcom figures a couple years ago. So again, it feels like they should be able to do that, but I don't know what's holding them back from doing it. Yeah, like the Raymond Toys one isn't chromed per se, but it looks much shinier than the Super 7 one. I mean, I've never been into Silverhawks that much, but if I was gonna get one, I'd probably get the Raymond Toys one over the Super 7 one. I don't know if it's Riemann or Raymond Toys. I don't care. But the main ones I would want Guile, Blanca, Vega, um, E Honda, like basically all the ones from the original Street Fighter 2 game. I'd like to see all those. The Haslab, that would be an interesting one to see done. The later characters in the later games, I wouldn't be as excited for, but definitely, Ryu, Ken, Guile, Chun Li, Blanca, M Bison, Saiget, Ramen. Actually, I always called it Riemann noodles. That's probably why I call them Riemann toys. But you're right. I guess it was ramen noodles. Like I recently just found my Soda Toys Blanca figure, so I have Sub Zero and Scorpion from Storm Collectibles. Those are the only ones I got. They're pretty good. I don't know if I like that rubber material too much, but overall they're pretty good. That was everybody's go-to food in college, so Not yet. I have not yet sold them. I may have somebody coming out later this week to look at them, and depends on how much they offer. But I've not yet sold anything. All right, well, it's about 8:30, so I think we're gonna wrap it up here. But as always, much appreciated for all you guys stopping in. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about on Thursday. I'll probably do another live stream Thursday, do a news video tomorrow. We'll cover, obviously the Haslab. Also, for you 66 Batman fans, McFarlane Toys announced going up for pre-order on Target this week on the 30th. Will be new 66 Batman stuff, some play sets. Probably that Villain's Lair that we've seen listings for. Maybe the Bat Cycle with Sidecar. I think that might be going up. I think there's a Mr. Freeze figure that's supposed to be coming. So if you're into 66 Batman, that's supposed to be going up on Thursday, the 30th, on Target's website. So we'll talk about that probably Thursday night. And who knows what else. But as always, guys, thanks for stopping in. And stay safe out there. And until next time, I will catch you later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News Message Boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.